Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. We were doing the chapter 11 Consumer Protection of 12th Standard Commerce and OC subject, and in the last video we just did the rights of the consumers by the Consumer Protection Act 1986, in which we saw the 6 headings which were representation, choice, consumer education, safety, information and redressal. So in this video we are going to cover next 2 headings of the rights of consumers, but these rights are given by the UNO, that is United Nation Organization. UNO, United Nation Organization. Okay, now see which 2 rights have been given by the United Nation Organization for the consumers. The first right is basic needs. Basic needs. So here it is said that goods and services which are being there for the consumers, means the consumer is having the right to get goods and services for the decent living. If any of the person wants to live his life perfectly or healthily, then he is having right to lead his life with all the basic needs, that is goods and services. The second right that the UNO has given to the consumer is hygienic environment. It means that the consumer is also having the right for getting a quality life. That is a right to get pollution-free environment. Pollution-free environment from like free air, water, food and land. See, when the sellers used to manufacture the goods, they used to do the pollution. So the consumers are also having the right to get a pollution-free environment. It means that the seller have to produce the goods in such a way that the environment is not disturbed or the environment is not polluted, whether it is air, water or land or food, whatever it is, but it should not be polluted. So the sellers have to focus on quality along with a pollution free or eco-friendly product. So these are the 2 rights which are given by the consumers or given by the UNO for the consumers. Okay, now as I told before that this question is very important for 5 marks, and this question you have to learn it very perfectly, so that you will not lose any kind of marks in this, and it is very easy answer, so you can roll it very easily. Okay, now you have to see this, that if in a question or if the paper the question is asked like this: mention the rights of the consumers or explain the rights of the consumers, then in that case you have to write 8 headings. 6 headings means 6 rights which are given by the Consumer Protection Act and 2 rights which are given by the UNO. But if it is clearly stated that explain the rights of the consumers by Consumer Protection Act 1986, then only you have to write 6 headings, that is first 6 which are being given, the rights which are given by the Consumer Protection Act. If it is clearly mentioned that you have to write the rights of UNO, then you have to write only 2 headings. If it is mentioned that you have to write the rights of consumers by CPA, that is Consumer Protection Act, then you have to write these 6 headings. And if it is not mentioned anything, then you have to write all the rights, which is first 6 and last to 8. So you just have to don't get confused regarding this thing and learn this answer very properly. Okay, so these were the rights. Now next topic is responsibilities of consumers. Rights and responsibilities both come always simultaneously. Okay, so this is the responsibility. Again, this question is important for 5 marks and it can be asked for 5 marks in the board exam, so please pay attention well. Responsibilities of consumers. Okay, we all like the rights but we don't like the responsibilities, but responsibilities always come and we have to take care of that responsibilities. In the same way, before the consumer starts enjoying the rights, he has some responsibilities to be taken care of. So let's see which are those responsibilities. The first responsibility is conscious use of rights. Conscious use of rights. Okay, now what is the meaning of the word conscious? Conscience means in caution, alert. He has to take care of that. So the rights have been given by the UNO and by the Consumer Protection Act. So it is the first responsibility of the consumer that he has to use his rights. Without using the right or without asking any kind of information, without getting educated regarding the product, if the person is complaining, then it is his fault. It is not the seller's fault. So the first responsibility of a consumer is that he has to use his right and he should have knowledge about it. Without having the knowledge about the right and without knowing anything, and if he is complaining, then that will not be acceptable. So the first responsibility is he has to use his right and he should know about it. Okay, now the second heading is be aware of misleading advertisement. Be aware means to be aware about it. So he should be knowing that for increasing the sales, the sellers do misleading advertisements. They want to earn more profit, they want to increase their sales, and because of that they do any kind of advertisement. For example, I have written one example that by drinking such kind of any of the drink, the person with short height will gain more height in lesser time span. So this kind of advertisement is misleading, and if you are believing such kind of advertisement and buying the product, then it is your fault. So the consumer, it is said that it is the responsibility of the consumer that the consumer should be aware regarding such kind of advertisements. Okay, so that is the second responsibility. Third responsibility, spread of consumerism. Okay, now it is said that it is every consumer's responsibility to take part in spreading awareness. See, it is not only the responsibility of the government to spread the awareness. Government is doing advertisement in the TV and radio, Jago Grahak and all, to aware the consumers and aware the people that this kind of things is happening in the market. This kind of thing is happening on the side of the seller. So you should be aware. So it is not only the responsibility of the government to do such kind of activities. It is also the responsibility of the consumers to take part in spreading such kind of awareness regarding the consumerism. So that is the third heading. Fourth heading is environmental protection. Okay, now every consumer is purchasing or consuming the product that we saw in the meaning of consumer, that consumer is a person who consumes the product. Now after consuming the product, you know what happens is, if we eat any kind of wafers, then we will throw the packet outside. So that is not the way to consume. Means it is the responsibility of the consumer that if the person is consuming any product, then that product should be disposed in such a way that it should not spread any kind of pollution or dirt. You have to dispose, means you have to throw the waste product in such a way that it should not harm the environment. So that is also again the responsibility of the consumer, that they should not spread the pollution. Fifth responsibility is care during purchase. Care during purchase means when you are buying the product, you have to take care. Therefore, the consumer has to emphasize, means to give importance on getting all the information regarding quantity, direction of use, manufacturing date, weight. Means precaution is, as it is said that precaution is better than cure. It greatly implies over here that when the person is going to buy a product, that person have to take care before buying the product. He has to ask everything regarding the product, and after using it, if he is complaining without asking, he has purchased the product and after that he is complaining, that is not the manner. So it is said, it is the responsibility of the consumer that before buying anything, you just ask questions like a kid. Everything you have to ask regarding the product, so that you are greatly aware about the product. So before buying it, just ask questions regarding the product and get all the information. So that is again the responsibility of the consumer. Okay, now the sixth heading is registration of genuine complaints. So here it is said that if it is the responsibility of the consumers, that if any of the consumer rights is violated, then it is the responsibility of the consumer to complain, to register the complaint. He don't have to ignore it. Whether it is a small right, whether whatever kind of right is violated, or whatever kind of cheating is being done, or whatever kind of exploitation is done by the seller, then he don't have to ignore it. He just have to do the complaint, because if you will ignore, or if the consumer will ignore, the seller will be encouraged to do that. For example, if the milkman is adding milk or is adding water in the milk, then you are knowing that the milkman is adding water in it. But if it is getting more and if you are not complaining, it means that the milkman will think that the people are not knowing what I am doing. So he will do that more. Therefore, it is your responsibility, or it is the consumer's responsibility to complain regarding the same, to complain regarding it, and he don't have to ignore the thing. So the sixth responsibility is registration of genuine complaints. Seventh heading or the seventh responsibility, no involvement in unethical activity. No involvement in unethical activity. Okay, now it will be little funny because see, if you are complaining and if you are doing the same thing, then you can't complain. Means if you are waking up at 10 o'clock and you are telling everyone to wake up at 5 o'clock, that if you should wake up at 5 o'clock, it is very good for health, then you are not being eligible to say such kind of suggestions. Similarly, if you are complaining regarding the seller that the seller is doing cheating and seller is hoarding the goods, seller is doing black marketing, before doing that, it is the responsibility of the consumer that he has to see that he is not involved in any kind of such activity. Means the consumer should not be involved in hoarding of the goods, black marketing and any kind of unethical practices. If he is not involved in such kind of unethical or such kind of practices, then and only then he can complain. So it is the responsibility of the consumer that he should be an ideal person and he should not be doing any kind of unethical things. That is the seventh responsibility. Okay, now eighth responsibility, solicit for bill. Solicit means to give importance. Solicit means to give importance. Okay, so solicit for bill means the consumer has to ask for the bill. We know that wherever we go out and whenever we purchase the things, majoritarily we don't ask for the bill. There are some places or some shops that they give the bill, but there are some places where we have to ask for it and we never ask for a bill. For example, petrol pump, when we go to fill up the petrol, and if we obviously we will fill the petrol for 100 or 200 or 300 or whatever the amount is, but it will be more than 100. So legally you can ask for a bill for the purchase of the goods which is more than amount of rupees 100, but we never ask for the bill over there. So what will happen is, if the consumer is not satisfied with any kind of service or any kind of product, then without bill he can't complain because he is not having proof for that transaction. So if the consumer is having the bill, if the consumer is giving importance of the bill, then it will be useful for him to complain. Therefore, bill is a very important instrument which is used as a proof to complain in the court. Therefore, every consumer should ask for the bill whether he wants to complain or not, whether he want to use it or not, but he should ask for a bill. Okay. Then last responsibility is solicit for high quality. Solicit for high quality means the consumer has to give importance for good quality of the product and not the cheap quality of the product. Therefore, before buying any product, the consumer has to confirm that the product is having the quality certificate or not, the product is having the standardization mark or not. We have seen very eco marks is there, then egg mark is there, and so there are quality marks which is being issued by the government. So we have to see that quality certificate is there or not, standardization mark is there or not, and after confirming that only means after confirming the quality of the product, the consumer should purchase the product. What will happen is, by doing this, the seller will get an idea that consumers are focusing on the quality. They are not focusing on the cheap quality and cheap goods. Therefore, the seller will keep such kind of goods which are of good quality. Therefore, there will be a supply of good quality products in the market. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the consumer to demand for the good quality products. So these were the 9 responsibilities. And if we do the quick recap, then it was, first was conscious use of right, that he has to use the right consciously. Second is be aware of misleading advertisements, that the consumer should be aware of the misleading advertisement. Third is spread of consumerism. Every consumer should take part in spreading awareness regarding the consumer protection. Fourth is environmental protection, means the consumer after using the product should not spread pollution or dirt in the environment. Fifth responsibility was care during the purchase, means the consumer should take care before purchasing the product and he has to ask for all kind of information like quantity, direction of use, manufacturing date, weight, etc. Sixth heading was registration of genuine complaints, means if the consumer rights is being violated, then the consumer have to register the complaint. He don't have to ignore it. Seventh responsibility was no involvement in unethical activity, means the consumer himself should not be involved in hoarding, black marketing or any kind of unethical practices. Eighth heading was solicit for bill, means the consumer should demand for bill. If he is not satisfied, then he can use that bill for complaining. And ninth, the last responsibility was solicit for high quality, means before buying the product, the consumer should confirm whether the product is of quality, is having a quality certificate, is having standardization mark or not. So these are the 9 responsibilities. Okay, now I have written here that learn any 8 headings for 5 marks. Means if this question is asked for 5 marks, then you have to write a short introduction, meaning and 8 headings and conclusion. Okay, so you can learn any of the 8 headings from this. For learning the heading, I have given the short form on the left hand side. So it is CBSE. CBSE means C for conscious use of rights, B for be aware of misleading advertisement, S for spread of consumerism, and E for environmental protection. CBSE, care registration, means if you are doing registration in CBSE board, then you have to take care. Okay. Care for care during purchase, and registration for registration of genuine complaints. Then it is no involvement in unethical activities and solicit, this way. So these are the ways or the short keys in which you can remember the headings. If you like it, please share the video and subscribe the channel, and thank you for watching it. We will meet in the next video. Okay, have a nice day.